Today is August 3rd, 2025. I'm about 3.5 miles up above the Copco Bridge, the town of Copco. This would be the Klamath River. Figured I'd stop and see what I can see for the day. I've been up here a couple times after the dams have been removed. I was up here once before the dams were removed. This is kind of what the river is looking like from here. It's kind of cool, some of the old things that you can still see here when you look around. Like up above on the, right below the cliffs up there. You can see what appears to be, I don't know if it's an old wagon trail or maybe the train tracks. I'm not sure what was that high. I'd have to go back and see where all the trails were in this area. But you can see that one go across the bottom there. Then it's hard to tell where it goes from there. But then if I shift over this way, and you look right there, you can see another trail of some sort. Like I said, I don't know if that's an old wagon trail or a train where the train track used to be. But it goes up and around that bluff and it side hills across through the trees, and you can still see it there between the two trees. And then it goes on and around down the bend on this side. And it goes on further down the river. But this is what the Klamath River is looking like right here. So I'm going to pause it and head on up the road. So I came up just the road not very far. To put into perspective, that's the hillside that we were just looking at that's got that road or trail or whatever underneath of it. And so this is what the Klamath River is looking like right here. Like I said, we've definitely seen a lot of white foamy stuff today on the river. The water definitely has like a brown hue to it with green. It's like a brown green tint. Obviously we're kind of getting some reflection of the greenery around us, but that kind of gives you a good color of what the water's looking like, that brown green hue. Definitely seeing a lot more critters up this direction. We've seen at least 1 or 2 osprey. So I'm gonna walk up just a little bit. You can see the sheer drop off there is here on the side of the road. You can kind of see into the water right there. See a few of the rocks there. I'm not going to walk down in there just because it is so steep. You can kind of see like the beach area, or there's some sediment or dirt over there that looks shallower over there. It's kind of what it's looking like downstream. You can see that there's more rapids right above. So I'm gonna pause it and head on up the road. So this is right above where I was just at. This would be the access 4 point. So we are about 4 miles upstream of the little town of Copco. Put it into perspective, this is the mountainside that we were looking before. And if you look up at the top, you can barely see what used to be a trail that goes up in there. Trying to go slow enough so you can kind of see it. It's kind of right there. And it is kind of a pretty area, so that's where that trail is up in the top. We'll kind of zoom back that way really quick so you could kind of see where it goes across through up there. It goes through underneath that bluff. And then if you come over to this bluff, you can see the other trail that comes in below it. And this is where we are from the Klamath. And to put it into another cool perspective, if I pan right over this way, you can actually see the old log chute, which is right there. You can kind of see that deep gorge right there. That used to be the old logging chute. If you look, you can kind of see where it came down the mountain. And it originated up there. A lot of cool old history here in this area. You can't quite see the Klamath from right here, so I might pop right down on the road right below me, and I'll go look upstream so you can see what it looks like upstream. So I'm walking down the road, so this would be looking downstream. That's kind of looking upstream. I'm gonna come down here. You can see the road is washed out right here. It's pretty much a drop off right here. I'm gonna come down here so far. I don't know. Trying to see where I can see upstream. And you can see a lot of that foam that's right there. There's actually another little diverts right there around that little island. And that's what it's looking like upstream. And then from here, and somewhere up there would be where the logs came in, probably up in that bend up there. Because from here, if you look, the log chute is right there. It's a pretty deep gorge. So when I'm looking at the river, you can kind of see some clarity a little bit over there on the bank edge. You can see a few rocks, but I'm not sure how deep it is here. So I'm gonna walk down the road just a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna throw a rock in. Go ahead. So it's hard to tell really how deep it is here. And actually, as I'm looking upstream, you can see a little fall up there. It's right there in the center. It doesn't want to zoom very good when I go up that far, but you can kind of see there's a little fall right there. And this is that little island bench that I was talking about. I'm walking down here to see if I can see it better. Oh, sorry. I'm kind of walking. Oh, I can see better right here. So you can see that that kind of goes around that little bench. And you can see the sheer drop off that you have here on this bank edge. And that's the road. I'm not sure how high this would have been prior to the dams being removed. It might have been a little bit higher, but this is, I'm assuming, kind of the natural flow. If you look on the rocks, you can kind of see where the high flow was at some points where it's white. Kind of get some of the water clarity. It's hard to tell. I mean, you can see right there on the bank. So anyways, I'm going to pause this video and we're going to continue on up the road and see what we see up further up. So we came up the road just a little bit. So down there where you see all those trees is where the Klamath River is. And to put it into perspective, those are the bluffs that we were looking at with where the roads cut down. And right here is where the log chute is. So that is the log chute, and that's where it started off up there, up in that area. And it came down, you can see like that green checkered bushes that comes down, and it comes down through there. That's the crevice it came through, and then it came straight down, and it ended up in the Klamath River down there. And to put it into perspective, this is also the location of the hot springs, which is up in this valley. The Klamath River is over there along the bottom of the hillside, which you can't get to it from here. But out in those fields is where the hot springs are. As I make my way up the road, I'll show you where some of those are. I'm going to kind of show you this whole area. I'm going to pause it and head on up the road. So I'm at the other end of this little valley. We were just down there. So this would be the location of where the hot springs are. You can see that fenced in area. I was just looking at some old pictures from when it was still an active hot spring and it was a destination resort for people to come to. So they're kind of, I don't know exactly where all the hot springs are out in this location, but they are scattered in here. And the Klamath River flows down there by the edge, the bottom of the mountain. This is kind of what this whole area looks like. It's kind of a pretty little valley in here. And then just off on the other side of that ridge right there is where the log chute is. And then that's the one that we were looking at, that road that comes below the bluffs. You can barely see it coming through right there. And it kind of angles its way down. Sorry, when I zoom in it goes fast. It angles its way down the hillside. And it goes below that bluff. And actually up in that region there is a cave. I can't tell that it's somewhere up in that area. And then you can hear the springs running off over here. There might be a little ditch over here. But we are right below Shovel Creek. I think this is where somewhere close to 5 miles up above the Copco Bridge in the little town of Copco. So I'm going to pause it. So So I made it to Shovel Creek. This would be where Shovel Creek comes down. And this is the bridge. And that would be looking downstream. So it's definitely a pretty little area, lots of blackberries. We stopped and eaten some blackberries along the way. And this is on down the road, which we are going to continue on down. But this is this field trip. I hope that you guys enjoyed the field trip with me today, so that you guys can see kind of what this area above the dams look like and above Copco. I've been up here a couple times but haven't really been able to take any pictures. So I'm off to my next stop, and I hope you enjoyed this trip with me today.